Do not make your holiday plans without watching this video, especially if you're an Oklahoma or Oklahoma State football fan. From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, I'm Mike Sherman, and here to talk about the Sooners and Cowboys' bowl destinations are Oklahoman columnist Jenny Carlson, John Rohde, and Barry Trammell. Barry, are they running for cotton in the November 28th Bedlam Stakes?
Well, to me, that's the best case scenario for both. You want to get to the cotton because that means they'll have the first pick. So I think the BCS is out of reach for both. So that means if OU or OSU, whoever wins that game, is probably going to be in Jerry World playing somebody from the SEC. Ideally, it would be LSU. Maybe not, but that would certainly be a marquee matchup.
And that'd be a great matchup for either team because we know obviously Oklahoma and LSU don't have much love lost, and you know Bob Stoops and Les Miles aren't exactly getting together for coffee either. But clearly, if that was a Les Miles against OSU, I'm totally on board with the Cotton Bowl, and I do think that Bedlam will decide Cotton Bowl for one of these teams.
Oh, absolutely, and one thing we know, it's over in the South. Texas doesn't play anybody. I think they have 4 bye weeks, and Kansas State. Here's the funny part: Kansas State might win the North, guys, with 4 wins, and they'd have to go to the Big 12 title game and win it to qualify for a bowl. So it would be Fiesta Bowl or bust for the North champion. How about that scenario?
I'm betting on bust. Now, if not cotton, what other possibilities are there, Barry, for the Sooners?
Well, it's a little bit complicated. For the Sooners, I think if the Sooners don't go to the cotton, I think they would go to the Holiday because, frankly, the Big 12 is sucking wind on good teams to send to bowl games. The Holiday and the Alamo next in line. After Texas, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State, you know, you got a bunch of teams right now with 5 and 6 wins, and they're not all that great. So I think if Oklahoma would, let's say, lose once the rest of the year, I think the Sooners probably going to the Holiday. Oklahoma State, meanwhile, it's more complicated because they went last year, might not want to go back-to-back years.
I totally agree. I think if Oklahoma State does not win Bedlam and wins out the rest of its games, if that game comes down to winner goes to the Cotton Bowl, I think there's a good chance Oklahoma State doesn't go back to the Holiday Bowl. I think that's the kind of bowl, because of the distance, that they really have to be mindful of teams that will travel out there. And I'm not sure OSU fans are able and would want to make a return trip. Maybe some, but not in great number. I think you'd be more likely to see maybe a Nebraska go out there. I mean, the Holiday Bowl would take an OU or a Texas, a team with great national cachet, but not somebody else out of the Big 12. I think if Oklahoma State doesn't make the Cotton Bowl, I think they're almost a lock to go to Alamo just because the Holiday would want a different team.
Well, let me throw this scenario at you guys. Let's say OU beats OSU. They both have 3 losses. You mentioned it last year. Oklahoma State went to Holiday Bowl. How about this? Oklahoma State doesn't go back to the Holiday Bowl. They go to the Cotton, play Les Miles. They take OU, put them in the Holiday against USC. So these bowls would have to cohabitate and swap notes or whatever. But matchups are intriguing here and are important. And as long as, OU's not offended, so to speak, I mean, how about another shot at USC?
I think it's good, and what that requires, and sometimes we have short supply in college football, is a little cooperation. I think the bowls, the conference office, and the schools would have to get together and talk about it. I think all things being equal, OU would rather be in the Cotton Bowl. On the other hand, they've been to Dallas twice this year.
That stadium.
Both times they've left with the quarterback banged up. But maybe they're tired of Dallas and Tarrant County. So, it might work. Now, let me throw some more mix. I think USC is going to win out and go to the Fiesta Bowl. I think that's very likely. So if you don't have USC in the Holiday Bowl, I think you're going to have Arizona. I think they're the number 3 team in the Pac-10 right now. And let me tell you, Bob Stoops is not playing his brother. It's not happening. Yeah. He'll forfeit the bowl game, in my opinion. I mean, literally, they will draw a line in the sand and say, not happening. So that further muddles the pot, but I think it would be grand fun either way. Oklahoma State, Arizona would be fun. Mike Stoops, see if he wants to go out and do that when he doesn't have a team that's way better than the OSU team that he played in 03.
Great, guys. Thanks. That's all for this edition of the Press Row, but you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day at News OK, and every morning in the Oklahoman.